You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Hello everybody and welcome back to RBR Lightning. As always, my name is Jake Ricker. Alongside me, it's Joe Zanataro and Matt Gannon. Guys, welcome back to the show. We only got 2 games to talk about, but it's 2 great games of Lightning hockey. It's going to be an action-packed episode for you guys. Once again, welcome in everybody who is with us live. We're happy you're here. Should be a fun episode. But first and foremost, guys, how you doing today?
Doing well. I can't remember the last time that we talked about a week without any losses. So I'm excited to get into this one. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. It's been like a whole 2 weeks since we've got to talk about an 8-goal game. So that's pretty exciting to talk about as well.
Spoilers, Matt? No, okay, yeah, that's going to be a fun one to talk about, and we'll get right into it very quickly, but I'll remind everybody that's here with us live, don't forget, you can leave your comments down below. We get them up here live on the show so we can talk about them. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you're new here, thanks for coming along and joining us. Should be a fun episode. If you're returning back, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Why not? You're already coming back anyway. And you can follow us at RBR Lightning and at RBLR Sports so you don't miss out on future episodes just like this one. Before we get into the games, guys, I do quickly want to hit on, we talked about this last week, and that's the Four Nations Face-Off, which at the time, rosters were not officially announced, but now we have all those rosters, and we know all the Lightning players that are going to be there. Matt, you talked about the ones that were rumored to be, and that is exactly what happened with, of course, Hedman, which we already knew about, going with Team Sweden. Jake Gensel, he will be on Team USA. And then, of course, Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli, and Brandon Hagel with Coach John Cooper and GM Julian Brisebois, all representing Team Canada. So a lot of bolts representing these Four Nations here at this Four Nations face-off. Should be exciting, although maybe a couple of question marks on Anthony Cirelli right now because he unfortunately got banged up in the last game. Hopefully he'll be okay. That's a long ways away, too. There's still plenty of time for him to heal up.
I mean, that's news that we could probably talk about off the top, right? I mean, that was a kind of a big deal and definitely will be affecting. I mean, it seems like it might be something that affects him for a little bit, right?
I hope not. I didn't see what really happened to him. I heard that he took a check awkwardly. I didn't get to see any replays of it, but yeah, it didn't come out for the final 2 periods of the game. So definitely a little bit concerning, especially to Cirelli fantasy owners like myself. Always have to throw it out there.
Wow, so early. You got it in just a couple minutes this time.
Don't worry, I've got more in the bag for you guys later. But yeah, concerning, especially considering how good of a season he's having too, and being named to the roster. Hopefully it's something, you can just take a couple days off and just, skate it off and hopefully be ready by the time next game rolls around.
So looking at what happened, he was kind of near the opposing team's bench, and he got checked a little bit from the side, and there's no glass there, so he was kind of almost bent over their boards, and it looked to me like it potentially, like his floating rib may have taken the brunt of that impact, and that's one of those things if it's strained or broken or one of the muscles, you can actually literally pop one of your muscles through the rib or your rib through one of your muscles. Either way, it just plain sucks. I'm hoping it's not that's not the case, but that's kind of the way it looked to me.
Anytime your back goes over the boards like that, that's never a good feeling at all. It's not the way you want your back to be bending. I haven't seen anything official yet on Cirelli and what that injury could possibly be. Like you guys have both mentioned, hopefully it's nothing serious and it's just a couple of days issue and it won't affect him too much. But he's been getting banged up a little bit recently. He took a puck to the face not too long ago either. The guy's having a great season right now, so he's someone we definitely got.
Your audio started dropping out on there for me at the end. But speaking of, pucks to the face, to kind of change the subject a little bit and focus on another team. Did you guys see Tom Wilson taking a puck to the face? Was that Saturday night?
I did not see this.
And he came back and scored 2 goals after that. I'm thinking back to a couple weeks ago when Tony Cirelli took the puck to the face, and he scored a goal shortly after that.
Yeah.
Later on, another spoiler, Quinn Hughes taking he got a stick to the face and scored a goal, but
Still had to get stitches, yeah.
Yeah, these facial injuries might be the secret to potting goals in the
It's
net.
the secret sauce. Yeah, it looked like Tom Wilson swallowed a swarm of bees, or at least cheeked one for a bit, because it was. You should look it up, because it was seriously like the size of easily a baseball that his cheek was out after getting popped there. And yeah, I mean, gotta love hockey players being able to tough it out, go back in, and then score a goal. It's the best sport in the world, man.
Oh, easily.
There are many cases where you've seen players get banged up and you think, oh, they're done for the game, maybe even longer. And next thing you know, they get a couple of stitches back in the locker room. Next thing you know, they're back out there on the ice. It really, really, really is impressive. Quickly here too, Daniel reminded me of this. I'll pop up his comment now. There was a coach named to Team Canada as well from the Lightning. Daniel said it was a video coach who made it for Team Canada too. Daniel, I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the same one. There was also the mental performance coach, Ryan Hamilton, who was named to Team Canada as well. So, Dan, if you can let us know, I'm not sure if we're thinking of the same coach there, but there were definitely some coaches as well that got to the to go to these events as well. So, congratulations to them as well. That's also a big accomplishment, and good to see more Lightning representation. Just goes to show you how great of an organization it is that you even got coaches going to these events. So, that's congratulations to them as well.
Was that in one of our private groups, or maybe I saw it on Facebook that they did a survey of players in the NHL again, and Coop was rated I think 34% of the players said that's the number one coach that they would want to play for that isn't their current coach, and I think maybe Quenneville may have been second with 12%. So there's a big gap, but by far and away the best coach in the eyes of the players and to be able to play for is our Coop.
I'm more interested on why players would vote for Quenneville.
I'm probably just naming a random coach rather than being accurate with it.
I know there's a chance, because I remember seeing that. I don't know if they did another one. I remember that was a couple of years ago that I saw that. So I'm not sure if it's just an older poll, but nonetheless, Cooper is one of the best coaches. And a lot of players have talked about how he is such a great coach that they want to play for. And a lot of the reason you see a lot of these guys come down to Tampa in free agency. So lots of great news for the Bolts moving forward as they continue to show off why they're such a great organization. Let's get into the games, though, because not only have they been great getting named to all these prestigious things, but they've been great on the ice as of late as well. First game we got to talk about at home against the San Jose Sharks. Guys, we talked about how this was kind of a trap game potential with, the Lightning sometimes not playing great against bad teams. And then the Sharks, long break for the Lightning as well. And the Sharks kind of playing well. But holy cow, did the Lightning take care of business in this one, scoring 5 goals in the first period. They've done that a couple of times in their franchise history. They've done it before this season as well. They go on to win this one 8-1. It wasn't until late in the third period that San Jose finally got one through, but everybody firing on all cylinders in this game. A fantastic game for the Bolts. Where do we even start on this one?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know where to start, but it was just a terrific game all around. I'm glad to see that Cam Atkinson was a guy who got the scoring started early. He's a guy that I've wanted to see a little bit more from, and having goals in back-to-back games, that's going to be a huge confidence boost for him. I'm still attributing it to his Disney shirt that he was wearing from last week. So if he can just wear that at least once a week, we might have another 20-goal scorer on our hands. But and then followed up by Connor Geekie as well, who. I'm not saying he's having a slow start. He's still every bit of 20 years old, but it's good to see him continuing his pace as a young guy in the league. But man, I'm just 5 goals in one period. I didn't know where it was going to end. The only sad part about this game is I wish they would have scored one more goal on Vasilevsky so we could have another you ate to see it goal or a game.
Come on, man. Listen, I'm with you on those things. I'm not with that one.
I'm kidding.
Average lowest as possible.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
All right, here comes a little bit of pessimism, guys. The Bolts did not play very well in this game, I don't think. Did you watch how many saves that Vasi had to make early in it, where they were just a mistake that that the Lightning were making. Vasi came out huge, I thought, with a lot of big saves on a team that wasn't necessarily supposed to be in it. You know, the Sharks just shouldn't have been able to hang with the Lightning according to the stats and the rosters. But I thought they put a lot more pressure and had a lot more dangerous chances than you guys are giving them credit to say that we just completely destroyed the Sharks. On the scoreboard, yeah, it looked that way, but on the product on the ice, I thought the Lightning got lucky in quite a few instances, including a couple of the goals. It is great to see guys putting in the net. That goes a long way for confidence, which probably helped build into the next game. But man, I really want to see these guys clean up some of the mistakes that they're making and not be bailed out by goaltending. Luckily, Vasi was on his game for a lot of those saves, and as we talk about the next game, there's several more that we can definitely put in there, and he helped the team make it a much more comfortable game, being 8-1. But that easily could have been, a 4-4 game if a couple more saves were made on the other side and Vasi didn't come up huge.
Yeah, no, you are completely right. I must have 8-goal syndrome to where nothing bad can happen at all. But there were a couple of breakaways. There were plenty of odd man rushes the other way that just didn't go the Sharks' way. And like you said, being bailed out by the big cat back there, it really does a lot to muffle the issues in this game. So I'm glad you did bring that up, because a couple of days later, just looking back at the 8-1 score, I'm like, oh man, it was easy as can be. And I guess you can point out the one goal against that the Sharks did have on Vasilevsky. It was a breakdown early in the right at the start of the third period. So a lot of issues that were covered up in this game, but still at the same time, I don't know. You did come off a long break. We know how this team does out of breaks. I can be happy with this performance, even if it is only good on paper.
They broke the pattern, right? Instead of having a long break, coming out slow, or playing a lower team and dropping your performance down to their level, they got a big win out of it, and hopefully that is something that they can continue to build upon.
I mean, I got to disagree a little bit here. Did the Sharks have some chances? Yeah, absolutely. Did Vasi play fantastic and make some big saves? Yeah, absolutely. But to say that they didn't play really well, I mean, they scored 8 goals. You got to play somewhat good to put up 8 on the board. I mean, I
that's what I'm saying. They did. They played somewhat good.
I mean, but the vibe I got from you there, Joe, was like, this wasn't really a great game at all. But I mean, listen, he scored.
Somewhat good does not equate to great.
I thought there was a lot of good in this game. I mean, the defensive mistakes are going to happen. The defense has definitely not been the strong point all year for the Lightning. There's no question about that. And I'm not taking anything away from Vasilevsky. But again, 8-1 victory. I mean, I think it's hard to complain much about that at all. I think the Lightning played a really good game in this, and despite giving up some defensive mistakes, made some great offensive pushes to make sure that they got plenty of goals. And Vasi did what Vasi did and came up big for them. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say that they played a bad game necessarily at all here. But I think anytime you can score 8, that's great, and that's a good game for me.
I mean, it's a feel-good game watching the highlight reel. I mean, that's always fun to see a bunch of goals go in. It's also good seeing Geeky get 2 points, Atkinson getting 2 points. Those are, players that definitely need to keep building on their game. So that's, excellent stuff. And surprisingly enough, our power play is getting hot again. So this was a game with Kucherov. So putting 8 in without Kuch. The boys played pretty well in terms of those offensive chances.
Matt, you did mention Cam Atkinson. I want to bring him up quickly because after the game in the interviews, post-game interviews, we got to talk to Cam Atkinson, and he talked about his play and how you got to be ready. He's not a guy that gets a lot of minutes, but everybody was giving high praise to Cam Atkinson in that locker room, and that, he's a veteran guy. He's a great locker room guy, and that it's impressive how, despite him not playing every night, he can come in any given game and put up, these good numbers like we saw in this game against the Sharks. There was a lot of high praise for Cam Atkinson, which I thought was great to see. And, maybe hasn't been the perfect start that he wanted to this season, but anytime you can get a performance like this out of him, that's huge. And if he can continue to do that, especially down the stretch, that's going to be a big help for the Lightning, no question about it.
Yeah, and that's fine that he's not having a terrific start either. I think everybody involved knew that he's not going to be the 30 goal scorer that he was in the past. It'd be great if he was, but at this stage in his career, I think he and the team that signed him all kind of know what his role is as a bottom six, checking forward that can pitch in offense as well, responsible forward. I don't hardly ever see him getting caught out there out of position or anything like that either. So it's been a good transition because he's always been a top six guy in his career as well. So if he can maintain and make the transition to being one of those role player bottom six checker guys, seems like he's doing a really good job at it. And now the goals are starting to follow suit.
Good stuff for the Lightning in this one, getting the 8-1 win. And then they took on a little bit of a tougher opponent as they started their Canadian road trip, which is what they're currently on right now, against the Vancouver Canucks, who have a very similar record. The Lightning and the Canucks do. The Canucks just have 2 more overtime losses at the time. That was the difference in this one. And despite the Canucks getting off to a 1-0 lead at the end of the first period, Lightning come back in this one and they win it by a final score of 4-2 off a game-winning power play goal from Jake Gensel. That was almost waved off initially, but the goal after review did stand. So the Lightning, I think a really solid game again. Some issues for sure. Not the greatest start that you want, but they held strong. They came back in this game, and the offense again really showed up. And Andre Vasilevsky making a lot of big saves.
Well, I think it is important that, like last game, you kind of point out the negative things about the team so they can rewatch our podcast and address those issues specifically, because we did say what atrocious second periods they've been having, and then they come out against the Canucks after apparently taking our advice and just cleaning it up and get 2 goals in that second period. They outshot Vancouver 18-5 in the second period, so it was quite a turnaround from what we were really harping on last week, and it's good to see them get those points out of the way on a kind of a weird start time. What was that? It would have been 1:00, I suppose, in Vancouver. So it's maybe they hadn't woken up yet, the other team.
And this still wasn't a perfect game by any stretch either. Like this one had plenty of mistakes, arguably more than that Sharks game. That atrocious Sharks game that Joe talks about. No, the Michael sent the picture in the group chat earlier of just the 3 guys behind the net puck watching. That was a really ugly goal. But it wasn't a perfect or full 60 minutes either. But at the end of the day, they do come away with a pretty not dominant win, but a decent win, a good way to start your Canadian road trip off. I do say that they were the better team for most of the game, but it wasn't without its flaws either. I thought they held the pressure in the offensive zone most of the game, but when it started going the other way, they were having a tough time trying to counter the Canucks attack. And Vasilevsky, just like in that Sharks game, just like night after night, had to bail them out again, especially late in this game after Jake Gensel got the lead back for the Bolts. They really went into shutdown mode again until the empty net goal, which, it's a good push by Vancouver, but it's also, being soft in your own zone by Tampa Bay. So not bailed out again, but defense.
Vasi did a really good job with I would say bailing them out with several point blank attempts from the slot that he came up huge. And then Dan just pointed out in chat, if you want to pull it up, Kucherov threw oh man, right across the middle of the ice in the defensive zone, a pass that was intercepted and skated straight into Vasi, and Vasi came up again huge with making the save on those. And this has been for the past few years a team that's quite dynamic with the way that they play, with the way that they cycle, especially with a Hughes brother, Quinn Hughes, going in and basically being able to skate as a forward, being very deceptive with his movements and hard to contain. And that gets the Bolts running around a little bit, and then the system ends up breaking down, as we saw with 3 Lightning players behind the net with just one guy by himself in front of Vasi for the Canucks. So getting those huge saves. I'd say this might even be a game that Vasi won. He stole the game for us.
One thing I want to point out that was really good in this game was the power play. Power play 2 for 4, 50% in this game. That is huge. And as mentioned earlier, the game winning goal from Jake Gensel, which was on a power play as well. And that was one of the biggest issues we talked about early on the season. It seems like that they've kind of found their groove, which has been really, really nice to see. I thought it maybe take a little bit longer to get in that groove. So great to see the power play going at full strength.
I love that you brought it up because it's something I forgot that I really did want to talk about was the way that they structured the power play this time with essentially Hagel, Point taking they mirrored the power play from what they're usually doing, where Kucherov has all the puck handling on the right side. They kept themselves positionally, but they slid Braden Point all the way. Did I say the left side? I meant to say the right side for Kuch.
Point's been on the wing, and Hagel's been in the bumper slot more now.
Yeah, and then they're deriving the play where Kucherov is almost more of the Stamkos one-timer threat, which you don't get as much puck handling out of Kucherov when he's over there like that, because the ability to send a one-timer is, you basically have Point that has to shoot a one-timer and he can't put it to the bumper spot. But the way that they were moving the puck so efficiently with that mirrored power play setup looked really, really good. They scored the 2 goals, but they had so many chances, I think there's 2 off the post as well. They just looked so much more organized with that setup that it does feel like you were saying, Jake, that they're starting to really find a groove. And that was a big move getting the puck kind of away from Kucherov.
They have been cycling the puck very well. Could still use work getting the entries. It's always kind of the hardest part on a power play. Well, scoring the goal is the hardest part, but gaining the zone is an exceptionally hard part. But with switching those 2 players or switching their roles, then it has seemed to have paid off in dividends. A lot of teams, if not every single team in the league, has a game plan for what the Lightning power play has been, with Kucherov being the puck distributor. He's the guy that everybody can kind of flock to because he knows he's the one that is essentially the quarterback on the power play. It's not Victor Hedman. Kucherov is the one that is distributing, trying to get the puck off to Point in the bumper spot, or Stamkos on the wing for the 1T option, or even, Hedman down low or up high for the big slap shot. But just that one little tiny move of having Point all the way over on the other side now, and him being the guy that is, moving his feet and creating and starting to dish the puck as well, it seems to be working really well. And even that Jake Gensel goal, it wasn't a pretty goal whatsoever, but just having control, keeping control, and just getting shots on net, even peppering them on net like that, not too dangerous chances, will eventually, turn into a goal if you get those pucks into greasy areas. And, if a team is studying for one type of power play that they think you're going to employ, and then you come out with something different, variety is the spice of life, and it seems to be working great for this Lightning team. Getting their power play numbers back up.
That's a really good point. If you have a couple of different looks on the power play, it makes it very hard defensively to hand off responsibilities because you're anticipating or practice, one setup, especially if it were to come to like a 7-game series. But you're practicing one setup, and you can anticipate your teammates' moves with whose responsibility is whose. And then if they have a completely different look, then you have to. You're going to be lagged. You're going to be delayed a little bit in your decision making, and all it takes is a quarter of a second, and you open up an opportunity.
Well, that was a big thing with the power play, right? With Stamkos and Kucherov out there, you had the 2 threats on either side. You go either way. You covered one guy, the other guy's out there to make you pay. You take Stamkos away, and it got a little more difficult because everybody leaned towards Kucherov. They've now reconfigured things, and it seems like they've gotten to a groove here. They've been really good as of late, which has been a big help for games like this when everything isn't perfect. I know I've been kind of a little negative on some of the things they've been doing in this game, but to me, these are some of the even more impressive wins where not everything is going right, but you're still finding ways to win games because you're not going to play perfect in every single game. You're not going to have 8-1 blowouts all the time. But if you can find ways to win, even when things aren't going well, whether it's Vasilevsky making huge saves, the power play getting things done, whatever it may be, that is the makeup of a really good hockey team. And that's what I love to see the Lightning doing and getting some of these wins back to, as they are very behind in games played, and they can really start to jump up the standings here if they continue to win right now. So that's the way I see it. I think they've been playing good. hopefully that can continue. This is a big road trip for the Lightning all the way out there in Canada. It's got a couple of late games coming up as well. So we'll see how things go the rest of the road trip, but a good start nonetheless.
You mentioned some of the goals. That puts Pointer now to be tied for third in the league for goals scored. He has 18. And tied for first is Sam Reinhart and Draisaitl both have 19. So he's just 1 point off of leading the league, and I mean missed some games too. So he's right up there. And looking at some notes, it also says that where was it? Point leads the NHL with 10 power play goals. He has 99 career power play goals and 10 career 4-point games, which is tied with Vincent Lecavalier and Marty St. Louis for the third most in the franchise history, behind Steven Stamkos and Kucherov.
Wow. Yeah, he's been
putting himself in elite territory.
He's been shot out of a cannon since he has come back from this injury. Such a big part of that, this offense too. And then his game in San Jose, despite just how awful it was, without Kucherov, like a lot of people are starting to call Brayden Point a Kucherov merchant. That argument came up a couple of years ago when people really started hating on the Bolts, but he's been able to prove that he can do it by himself. I think those two just work so good as a pair that a lot of people default to, he's just a product of Kucherov, but, he's proved that he can, do it himself. Those two are so lethal together that I never want them ever separated ever. But just that San Jose game and even in this game, I think they only connected once for a point together in the Vancouver game. So yeah, just shot out of a cannon since he came back from injury. Just what a phenomenal player. Territory. Speaking
of shot out of a cannon, the way that he got the empty net goal for Vancouver, he basically just pure out skating the entire team and driving to the net in order to put it in. That if that didn't reach one of the stats for the week of like the fastest skating, like the fastest burst of speed, because man, that was just pure, just like determination and muscling with your legs to accelerate like that and literally take it from your own defensive end all the way to the opposing team's net just by blowing by guys.
I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Are we still having an All-Star weekend this year because of the Four Nations face-off? I think there is. I'm trying to remember because I know things got a little messy with Four Nations and then the Olympics coming up not too long. But if so, I mean, are we finally going to get a Brayden Point rematch in the fastest skater competition? Ooh. Because I need that like I need water because Point is a very fast skater, and I don't think he ever got the he had his chance at home when the Lightning had the All-Star game, but I would love to see that again because I think he could win it, no question about it.
There is not one this year.
Of course, when Point's playing at his best and when having no definite chance of getting in, there's no All-Star game this year. Man. That's a bummer. Oh, well, hopefully next year we'll get it at some point. I do want to bring up an interesting question that we got here in the comments here. Is Point the best center ever to play for the Bolts? He's definitely the best center to play right now. There's no question about that. I don't know about you guys. I think Point still got plenty of time left in his career. I think he can definitely get easily to become the best center in that conversation, but I think it's still a little early. You got so many great centers for the Lightning. And I don't know if he's quite there yet, but no question he's up there with the top of the best for the Lightning.
I and engaging with Chad a little bit, I'm a Vinny guy. I think Vinny, currently still is the best center. There's so much leadership that goes along with that. With me calling Vinny the best, that's beyond just his play on the ice. So I mean, there's a little bit of bias there for raw skill playing center. The offensive upside of Point is ridiculous. I mean, he's everything that we're wanting out of a top 3 center.
I like my answer in the comments a little bit better.
Classic Matt, talking about Zach Bogosian. Joe, I saw you mentioned in the comments, didn't he win a faceoff? Yes, he did. He did win a faceoff as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
He has never lost a faceoff as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Wasn't that with like 30 seconds left in the game, and it was right in front of the Lightning's bench in the neutral zone?
I'm pretty sure
it was something ridiculous.
And Bogo was like, "All right, I'll take it," because everybody was down. And he won it. He did. So, maybe you do have to put Bogo in that conversation.
The stats don't lie,
100%
Puck don't lie.
Doesn't get any better than that. Well, Point, if he continues the way he's been playing, which there's no reason to believe he hasn't, he's going to be up there in that conversation. No question about it. He's been fantastic. And great to have him here as a long-term member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, time for our 3 stars of the week. This was actually a tough week to a point to pick some stars, I think, because there are a lot of guys with a lot of good numbers. Anytime you score 8 goals in a game, you're going to get a lot of guys with a lot of good numbers. So the pure stats wise, a lot of positive things, but I think we picked a pretty good list. So starting off with our number 3 star of the week, it's none other than the guy who has returned to the Lightning after being with a different team last year, and that is Ryan McDonagh. He gets the 3rd star of the week. McDonagh, he was a +4 on the week in the 2 games played for the Lightning this week, short week with those days off, but 3 assists, 3 points, and was a +4. Really well done. Great defensive play from Ryan McDonagh. He gets the 3rd star of the week.
Yeah, he played well defensively, and he's everything that we were hoping for when he came back. Just shut the game down, play hard, and let the offense essentially do their thing, give him the luxury of being able to do that. Although he had such a sick assist over to Kucherov in the Vancouver game, a no-look pass where he's walking down the slot over to Kuch for a Kuch one-timer that had the goalie just swimming, and that was a beautiful play that almost that one alone would be worth the price of admission for.
Yeah, McDonagh has done so much to restabilize this defense. It still has its issues, but it seldom ever seems like he is out there when those issues arise. And again, chipping in bit by bit on the offense, it seems like every time he does get an assist, it's on a huge goal, something, just absolutely crazy. He's an insanely clutch performer. The connection that he has to Kucherov, oddly enough, the shutdown defenseman versus, the best playmaker in the world connection is something really, really special. So he's just been playing fantastic ever since he got back. I think Michael sent over the numbers in the chat that I don't really know how to read, but essentially he is saying that he is playing much better than he did last year in Nashville. So just a welcome sight back in Tampa Bay to stabilize everything and then chip in on some of these huge goals. He doesn't have a goal yet this year, does he?
Off the top of my head, I don't think so. I'm going to look it up quickly, though, to try and confirm that. The stats you're referring to, Matt, the advanced analytics community definitely has Ryan McDonagh playing better. Coincidence? I think not, with him being back with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know we've had some defensive issues, but he has been a bright spot. And confirming, yes, he does not have a goal this year. 9 assists for 9 points and is a +14, but does not have a goal yet. So maybe something to look forward to for Ryan McDonagh later in the season. So he's a well-deserved 3rd star, no question about it. Our number 2 star, it's a guy that came over, everybody was really excited about in the offseason, kind of the replacement for Steven Stamkos. A lot of talk about him early in the year. Well, man, not only is he settled in, but he is starting to heat up, and that's none other than Jake Guentzel. He's been racking up the points lately, playing very well with Nikita Kucherov. With the 2 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points, and was a +3 as well. We mentioned the big goal he got against the Vancouver Canucks on the power play. So Jake Guentzel gets the number 2 star of the week.
I don't think we could have found a better person for the job that was at hand. Jake Guentzel has done nothing but excel in the job that he was given, and he's just fit in perfectly. I think this is already like his 3rd, maybe even his 4th time being on our stars list this year. And I'm already getting to the point where I'm running out of words to say for him. Just an extremely smart, responsible player, shows up in these big time moments and just does every little thing that I could ask for. Again, I got to harp on the responsible side too, because he puts an effort on the back check. Like it's hard to call him a defensive forward, but it seems like he's always one of the first guys back, breaking up plays if something goes awry. He's in the right place in the defensive zone or in the neutral zone, wherever he has to be. And then he just has such a knack for scoring goals, dishing it out. Just a tremendous player, Jake Guentzel is. I'm so glad he's on this team and on my fantasy team.
I think Eureka's doing some back end stuff. He's not able to ring the bell, but we could have ring the bell multiple times at this point.
All right. Yeah. So there's something noticeable about or notable about his play against Vancouver, and that's that he seemed to struggle quite a bit early in the game with his puck control. He kept losing control of the puck. He was struggling accepting some of the passes, and when that happens, I had a game on Sunday as well. As a matter of fact, I was having trouble with the puck. I was getting really frustrated. It made my game get that much worse, and I had trouble recovering from it at all. However, he stuck with it, and like you can notice if you rewatch some of the power plays, you got past two on the power play and just completely bobbled the puck. It's I think it's in one of the highlights that you can see at least that one example. He stuck with it though. He regathered the puck. He let his feet do the work for him and got back into that game. And that's a fighter's mentality, and it's a really good attribute to have if you're going to be an elite player. And seeing him have that little bit of adversity and keep battling back from it, man, that is a great pickup to have on your team. And again, start of the week, it's great.
No question about it. Now, the number one star, I think this was a no-brainer this week. He has been absolutely fantastic. We just gave him a little bit of praise not too long ago, but with 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 total points, I mean, holy cow, it doesn't get much better than that. That's none other than Brayden Point, who gets the first star of the week. Man, this guy's on fire. He's playing extremely well. Just what negative things can you say? I don't think anything. I mean, there's really not much to say when it comes to Brayden Point because he's playing that well.
He doesn't have an Instagram, so I can't write like love comments or anything like that. That's the only negative thing I can say.
He doesn't have an Instagram, huh?
No, he is ghost on social media, which I respect.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's awesome.
He's such an old soul from what I hear from all the guys. Just, very low key. Who I forget who. Oh, it was Brandon Hagel. He went on the Spit and Chicklets podcast or something like that, and he said, just give Pointer a rum and Coke, and, he's just the chillest guy in the world, and he just loves
a rum drinker,
boys.
My type of guy.
I'm saying, bro. I mean, that just boosted him like 10 notches above. He is the best center to ever play for the Lightning now. And he's a big Crocs enthusiast, too. I mean, if you know me, I'm always wearing my Crocs, too. So I think I embody a bit of Brayden Point in myself. I did a lot of the loving a couple minutes ago, so I'm just going off of everything you don't see on the ice here. So, rum and Coke enthusiast and Croc enthusiast. He's number one in my books.
I got nothing more I can add than that.
I mean, really, he's been that good, and props to Brayden Point. He has been fantastic, and he gets the number one star of the week. So there you have it, our 3 stars, Ryan McDonagh, Jake Guentzel, and Brayden Point. Let us know down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you add some other players in there? There was a lot of great picks. There were a lot of stars out there for this game. For this week, I should say, for the Lightning. But I'll tell you what, nothing is as bright as what we got over on shop.rblrsports.com. It's almost Christmas time. It's time for the holiday shopping. Make sure you go over there and use code BOLTS to get 10% off your order to pick up some extra Lightning gear. Lightning, Rays, Rowdies, Bucks, all the team-inspired merch. You know, we got it. So be sure to head over there to shop.rblrsports.com to check that out as well. Links, as always, are in the description as well. All right, now we're going to be looking ahead here for the Lightning and their schedule coming up. It's the Canadian road trip, as I mentioned. On Tuesday, the Lightning taking on the Edmonton Oilers at 9 p.m. Eastern, so get your coffee ready for this week. And then on Thursday, it's the Calgary Flames, again at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturday, the latest one of this week, it's against the Seattle Kraken at 10 p.m. Eastern. So a late game for the Lightning on Saturday. Then they'll be back home, but we'll be back here for another episode before that comes up. So some big games coming up for the Lightning on this road trip.
A little ironic that it's Edmonton, Calgary, and Seattle. That's the exact way that they're ranked up in the Pacific Division as well, with the Oilers coming in at 4th in the division, 5th for Calgary, 6th for the Kraken. And, I mean, it'll be a week where, in theory, should be able to get 6 points out of these games. But a West Coast road trip is always tough, especially by the time you get to the end of the week. The one nice thing I will say is that they actually have all these games spaced out, so there's no back-to-back in it.
That's nice. These West Coast road trips are always really hard. I think last year, like the 4-game stretch we won the first one against one of those teams and then proceeded to drop the next 3. So I hope it's a different script this year. It seems like this team is a bit of a different team than last year's team. So I'm hoping something is different this year. Edmonton, they're starting to really find themselves. Calgary, they're really starting to regress to the mean. I don't even really know what the Seattle Kraken are at this point. They're just kind of floating around in the hockey world. So hopefully, if we can come out of this 4-game span with at least 4 points, that'd be great. But the more you can get, the better. But I just know how difficult these West Coast road trips can be on the team and my bedtime. So. Hopefully these are blowouts that I can go to bed early watching.
You never like when those games get super late and they're super close. You're like, I want to stay up, but I got work in the morning, something going on. Those are never fun for us here on the East Coast. But hopefully
you wake up going to bed happy, and then you wake up and it had completely turned on its head after you shut it off.
There's nothing worse. Don't want any of that. Big road trip coming up here for the Lightning. Hopefully they'll be able to pick up a couple of wins. Before we wrap, though, guys, I do want to mention one more thing, and that is we now know the 2025 Hall of Fame inductees for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was announced during the Sharks game, and that is Rick Peckham and Brian Bradley. Those are your 2 next Hall of Fame members for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That Hall of Fame game, not for a little while, next year, but those are the 2 that have been selected. Congratulations to both of them. Very well deserved. And so a quick little round of applause for those guys. Rick Peckham, fantastic announcer, one of my idols growing up, watching him with the Lightning for so long. And then Brian Bradley, too. I mean, what he did for the Lightning. 14 years in the NHL, he spent 6 of those seasons with the Lightning, 500 total points in his career, and scored a lot of big goals for the Lightning and was a big part of the Lightning getting things started here in Tampa Bay.
What was the who was inducted last year? Do you guys recall? It's okay. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just can't find a reference to actually see the.
So year 1 was Vinny and Esposito. I believe Marty was one of them last year.
Did they have 3 the first year? Maybe
there was 3 the first year, and then there was 2 and 2.
Okay, and so I mean I don't remember who the 2 were.
Richards was last year. Marty, I think it was Marty and Richards last year, and then the first 3 was Espo, Vinny. Oh, I can't remember the third.
Oh, let's see. That's Hockey Hall of Fame, not the Lightning Hall of Fame. If anyone in chat has the answer on that, because I'm just a little bit curious. Oh, here I think it is. 23 was Espo, Vinny, and Marty. Last year was Andy and Richards.
Dave Andreychuk. I am extremely disappointed in myself. That's one of my all-time favorite players. I apologize, Dave.
So I was going to look and I was kind of seeing if maybe it was a case where they're basically getting somebody that was staff, or how would you put it, front office, or off ice person, and then also somebody that was on ice, because there's so many people to do it. But I guess you could still kind of say that with how much larger a role or how much longer of a role Dave has had in the relations side of things for the Lightning than he actually played on the ice.
Yeah, you could definitely say that, I think, to a point. But yeah, I don't. There's a lot of guys off the ice that deserve selections, and I think there will be more to come over the years. I mean, Jay Feaster, he's been one of the nominees recently. There's a couple others who I can't ring off the top of my head. There'll be more in the future very, very soon as well, I'm sure. There's so many big people in the Lightning organization that can be nominated for that. But I'm very glad Rick Peckham got in. I voted for him last year. It was him and Dave Andreychuk were my 2 picks. So I'm glad he got in this year, because I think he's one of the most deserving that was up there on that list.
Do you think Steve Yzerman ever gets in? Let's say in like 20 years or something.
No.
No?
No, as much great as he did in building the general roster that got the Lightning their back-to-back Stanley Cups, it was ultimately JBB that pushed him over the top. And I just don't think – if you want a Stanley Cup, yeah, I think so, but he was never able to do that. It was JBB that pushed him over the top. So I think there's potential for JBB to be a guy that gets in at some point down the road, depending on how these next couple of years go as well. But I don't know about Yzerman.
All right.
He's definitely well deserved for the things he did, but not quite Lightning Hall of Fame worthy. But
he gets free tickets to go into it.
He gets free tickets to go to the event, but does not get selected. That's kind of mean, Joe.
Yeah, this could have been you.
No, so I loved Yzerman. He just we just couldn't get over the hump with him, and I honestly didn't ever have much issues with the decisions he made outside of one first-round draft pick that I thought I've been very vocal about over the years on here.
Connolly?
Yeah, dude, that was I can spot a loser, man. That guy was a loser. But I don't know that, where do you set? I guess maybe if the Lightning start running out of people to put into the Hall of Fame, he would make it in. But there has to be some sort of criteria that, not just longevity. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll.
There's
maybe
a lot of names that they've got, I think, ahead of him that I don't think they'd run out of, because there's only two going in every year. So you think about all the people that are currently playing too that are going to get in at some point. I don't see it. Maybe way, way, way down the road, but he never won that cup. So unfortunately, as much as he built the general roster for him, I don't know if there's maybe we'll get proven wrong at some point, because it is a fan vote. So maybe enough people think he deserves it. But guys, I think that's going to do it for us in this episode. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in this week. Don't forget to follow us at RBLR Sports, at RBR Lightning, so you don't miss out on future episodes just like this one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications as well. If you did enjoy the video, hit that share button as well. It really helps us out. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.